जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter 29. Beginning from verse number 17, 18, 19. So verse number 17. We will not read the commentary on these three verses. So it was described how the body was compared to a chariot, the senses to the horse, and time to the movement, and the soul is the seer and follows the intelligence. So in the commentary says samvatsarasya rayo vega eva gatir iti ashugapada vyakhya. So he says that the flow of ear, that is the movement of the chariot, and that is the explanation of the word ashuga, because here it is said that samvatsarayo gatihi. पाठांतरे संवत्सरस्य तत्कृतं रयस्य तेव गतिर्यस्य. And in some places there is a difference in reading. So then instead of samvatsara ashuga it is gati. And then it means that samvatsar, the ear and its movement, these two are the gati of this. Triguna dhvaja iti trivenu pad vyakhya, and trivenu refers to the flag of three gunas. Trayo gunaha sattvadeya dhvajo yasya. So sattva rajas tamas, these are the flag of this body, or on the chariot. And then manorasmir buddhi suto rin nido dvandva kubura panchendriyartha prakshepa Saptadhatu Varuthaka. Mind is the ropes to control the horses, and intelligence is the driver. Heart is the place of sitting, and Dvanda is the dualities are the yoke, and the five senses are the weapons thrown from the chariot, and the seven dhatus are the coverings. Panch praharanam ityasya vyakhya panchanam indriyanam artheshu sabdadishu swasvasya vaparanam prakshepa. So here it says Panchindriya Prakshepa, somewhere probably it is Praharanam. So there are five weapons, and these are the five sense objects. The movement of the senses in the sense objects. Shravanadini Panch Praharanani. In other words, these five senses are the five arrows or weapons. Akutir Vikramo Bahyo Mrigatrishnam Tradhavati Ekadasha Indriya Chamu Panchasuna Vinodakrit. And Akutihi Karmendriya Panchakam, the endeavor, this is the five senses of work. Vikramamiti Pancha Vikramityasya Vyakya. And this is the explanation of the five endeavors which were described earlier in the previous chapter. Panchendriye Suna Vinodam Iva Anyayena Vishya Sevam Karoti iti Pancha Suna Vinodakrit. And he was riding on the chariot and he went for hunting into the forest. So he says that this five senses going into the sense objects and trying to enjoy the sense objects illegally or in an irreligious manner, that is the hunting. Because Panchasuna, Suna means violence, and Vinodam, Vinodakrit means for the sake of pleasure. Vinod means pleasure. Anena Chachara Mrigyam Tatreti Vyakyatam. So this has explained that he went for hunting on this chariot. And Samvatsaras Chandavegha Kalo Yeno Plakshita Tasyahanihya Gandharva Gandharvya Ratriya Smrita Haranti Ayu Parikranta Shrashti Uttara Shatatraya. And here is the Chandavega, one who attacked, and this indicates the time. And day and night they are the Gandharva and Gandharvis. They take away the lifespan. So Parisritya Tiyatra Parikranti Kvachit. Sometimes, somewhere the reading is Parikrantya, sometimes somewhere it is Parisritya. But the meaning is Paribhramena, by movement. That it is taking everybody's life, the time. Kalkanya Jara Sakshat Lokastam Nabhinandati Sosaram Jagrihe Mrityu Kshayaya Yavaneshwara. And Kalkanya, the daughter of time, that is the Jara or old age. And no one appreciates her, nobody likes old age. Swasaram Jagrihe Mrityu, and death, he accepted his own sister Kshayaya for the destructions, Yavaneshwara, and Mrityu is the Yavaneshwara, the Lord of the Yavanas. Lokanam Kshayaya Swasaram Swasritvena Jagrihe. So for the destruction of the people in this world, Mrityu or death accepted his own sister. Because one way of death is it comes through old age. So he accepted the sister. Pakse swasya kshaya swasaram api tam jagrihe. Or another meaning is that for his own destruction, he accepted his own sister. Adharma vanshod sasurapi tasyaha swayameva patirabhutiti. Because he was born in the dynasty of Adharma. All these Mrityu, Jara, they are the progeny of Adharma or irreligion. Therefore, swasurapi tasyaha swayameva patirabhut. He himself became the husband of the sister. Usually you don't marry the sister, but this is the adharma. Kalkanya Vaishnav Janesu Atikripalor Naradasya Mrityumeva Jarayati. So this meaning Mrityu Kshayaya Uneshwaraya is applied that he accepted it for the sake of destruction of the universe, and he gives another meaning that he accepted it for his own destruction. So how can there be destruction of death? So he says this is in the case of Vaishnavas, that by the order of Narada, because Narada has told Kalkanya to accept Mrityu, so that means for Vaishnavas the old age destroys the death, not the Vaishnavas. The death himself, because they transcended death. So that is another meaning which can come from this verse. Adhayo vyadhayastasya sainikaya nascharaha bhutopsarga ashurayaha prajvaro dvividho jvaraha. And then it was described that this Yavaneshwara, the king of Yavanas, had an army. And the army here is described as Adhi and Vyadhi. Adhi means mental disease, mental disturbance, and Vyadhi means physical, bodily disease. So our body is attacked by these two types of enemies who are the part of the army of the enemy. The mental and the physical, and this is what destroys the city called body. And bhuta upsargaha asuraya, and this attack gives bhuta upsarga, or pain or misery or suffering, and it is very quick, because when they attack then there is suffering which happens immediately. And prajvaro dvividho jarva. And then there was description of jvara, fever, called prajvara. So this prajvara is two types of fever. There is two types of fever. There is also fever because of cold and fever because of heat. So that's what brings death. Chara sancharina. So the word chara means the spies who go around. Bhut sambandhi upsargaha pavana jala hima agni surya tapa kupathyadi kritaha. So bhut upsarga, he translates as the miseries which are coming from the material elements. So you get disease because of the wind. There is a heavy storm or too much cold wind that can bring disease, or if it is very hot air, like in the summer, you can get a sunstroke. So that is from the wind. And then disease which can come from water. You drink too much hot water, too much cold water, or impure water, or you take bath in impure water, and all this can bring disease or suffering. Or there is lack of water, dehydration. And him is snow. There is too much snow and one has to be outside in the snow, then one can fall sick. Or if the rooms are not heated and it's snowing outside, one can freeze to death. So that is because of the snow. And Agni, from the fire, and Surya from the sun. You get sunburn, or because of sun people get also cancer, right? Skin cancer because of ultraviolet rays. And tapa kupathyaadikrita, Surya atap or by sun rays or by eating improper food. So these are various reasons that one can get sick. So sickness can come physically from the body because of the imbalance caused by the material elements. That is called bhuta upsarga. And swastandra pralapadaya ashuraya sigravega. So these things can give disease of breathing, or tandra, laziness, or if one's mind becomes very disturbed, then one may start babbling, pralap. So these are the various types of problems which come. Asuraya sigravega. Asuraya means that they are come immediately, or they have a problem, very powerful force in them. Dvividho jvara shitoshna bhedat. There are two types of fever, coming from cold and coming from heat. Bhutopsargas tvaraya iti pathe bhutakrita rajachore krimi jaladikrita. And there is a difference in reading. There is a reading bhutopsargas tvaraya. Then it means that the enemies are the disease coming from the elements, from the living beings. Bhuta means living beings. So it comes from police people, they can trouble you. Or chaura, thieves, or some krimi, insects, mosquitoes, they bite you. Or jaladikrita, or from water, etc. Pida to araya, these are the enemies. Anena aribhir uparuddha iti ari pad vyakya. So this is the explanation of the word aribhir uparuddha. This is the word used, means disturbed by the enemies. एवं बहुविधैर दुःखैर देव भूतात्म संभवैः क्लिश्यमानः सतं वर्षं देहे देहि तमोवृतः. He says that in this way a living being, he suffers with various types of miseries. Adhibhautik, adhidevik, adhyatmik, these three types of miseries coming from other beings, suffering coming from one's own self, sufferings coming because of the nature, too hot, too cold, or tsunami, earthquake, forest fire, various types of diseases which come, some typhoon. So these are the diseases or problems which come. And a person lives maybe 100 years suffering from these things because the lifespan was accepted to be 100 years. Kathayem vairagya artha ityaha evamiti. All the story is told to create detachment in the mind of Prachin Barai. That is the meaning of everything. Most of these stories which are described here, they are described to create detachment. Later on in 11th Canto, Sukadeva Goswami says this, Kathaimaste Kathiyam Hiyasam, I think in 12th canto somewhere, that I have told all these stories to you of all these great kings to create a sense of detachment. Kathaimaste Kathitam Hiyasam Vitaya Lokesu Yasha Parayusham. These people who were very illustrious, very famous, Vigyan Vairagya Vivaksha Vibho Vacho Vibhutir Nata Paramat. So, to develop knowledge about the self and discrimination from the body and therefore become detached. He says, I explained these stories for this purpose, and this is all expansion of my speech. Its purpose is not Paramarth or the supreme goal. Says supreme goal will come from the stories which describe Lord Krishna. Yattu uttam sloka gunanuvada sangiyate abhikshanama mangalagna tameva nityam sunyad abhikshanam krishnayam lam bhakti madhusamani. If one is desiring bhakti, then one should hear Krishna Katha. They are the ones which destroy the sins. So these stories are there to develop detachment so that one can come to listen to this Krishna Katha. Because if one is not detached, then one may not take interest in hearing Krishna's stories. So that is the purpose. That's what he says, that these stories are being described for Vairagya. Daivityadi iti adhidaivik adhibhautik adhyatmikai. So Daiva refers to the three types of miseries. Prana dharman, chutu pipashadinan, indriya dharman, andhatvadinan, mano dharman, kamadinan, nirgunepi atmanadhasya. This is from the next verse. Pranendriya mano dharman, atmanyadhyasya nirgunaha, shete kamalavanyadhyan mamaham iti karmakrit. Says that the soul which is nirguna, which is free from all material gunas, so it identifies with the prana, the life air, the indriya, the senses, mind and its activities. Atmaniyadhyasya nirguna shete. And dhyayan, it is meditating on some little material pleasures, kamalavan. Mamahamiti karmakrit. And then because of this develops this idea of I and my. So they adhiday pranadharman chutta pipashadina. The life air gives hunger and thirst. This feeling of hunger, feeling of thirst comes because of the movement of the airs in the body. And indriya dharman andhatvadin, and the characteristics of senses, blindness, deafness. And manodharman kamadin, and the characteristic of mind is our material desires, etc. Nirgunapi atmani adhyasya. So Atma, who is completely free from these problems of the prana, hunger or thirst, or deafness or blindness, or material desires in the mind, the emotions. Atma is completely different from all this, but he identifies with them, and then he suffers because of that. So yada atmanam vigyaya bhagvantam param gurum purushastu visajjete guneshu prakrite swadrik. So when a person does not understand the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, who is the supreme teacher of the world, the transcendental Guru, then the person, he becomes attached to the gunas. Gunesu visajjate prakritehe swadrik. So although he is swadrik, he has the power to see, he becomes attached to these things. Atmanam Paramatmanam, the word Atma here refers to Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, because it is said Bhagavatam Param. Gunabhimani satada karmani kurute vasaha suklam krishnam lohitam va yatha karma vijayate. And then when he identifies with the body, with the mind, with the senses, their functions, the activities, then he is called Gunabhimani. He gets the ego that I am all this manifestation of the gunas. I am angry, I am sick, I am suffering. So all this comes because of identification. And then forcibly he performs actions. Kurute avashaha. So this whole idea now comes of free will. Yesterday it was asked, where is the free will? So this verse now says that kurute avasha, that he is forced to act because of these gunas. Because a person, he is situated in the body and he is completely controlled by the mind, by the intelligence, by the senses, and the desires, the needs of the physical body, hunger, thirst, etc. One is hungry, then one wants food. And if one food is not available, then he may steal. Or he may do something unethical. So then that his body need is there, he needs to satisfy it. So now there is no free will. You cannot say that I will not bother about my hunger. Let hunger go to hell. No, he is forced to it. If he is thirsty, if he is sleepy, if he is tired, there is no energy in the body, mind is depressed, or mind is disturbed. So where is the free will? Therefore it says kurute karmani avasha, performs actions forcibly, compelled. So there are three types of karma he performs: Sukla, Krishna and Lohit. White karma, black karma and red karma.
Red?
You heard of three karmas? White karma? No? White karma.
The color I never heard.
So white karma is like white money. And then there is a black karma that is like black money. But have you heard of red money?
What is that?
So that is in between white and black. There is a lohit karma. So there are activities in goodness, not harming others, doing welfare to others. That is sukla karma, charitable work, social work. Then there is lohit karma, red work. You do for your own enjoyment, for your own pleasures, but you don't disturb others because of that. You don't unnecessarily harm others. Or even if you harm because you are getting some benefit. And then there is a Krishna karma, where you do forbidden act or violent act, not that it is benefiting you. You just do it for fun, like we saw the other day on the beach. This guy was jumping onto this insects. You saw that man? Do you remember? The man on the beach, he was stamping on this. Right?
Yes, yeah.
So this is Krishna karma. Why is he doing it?
No real reason.
He's not gaining anything, but he is just taking pleasure in killing. So there are people who do activities which benefit others. There are people who do activities, it doesn't benefit others, it benefits himself. And there are people who do activities which harms others, but it also benefits oneself. Like you may steal somebody's money or snatch somebody's property, so you are disturbing others, but you are benefiting. And then there is this fourth class, which is the worst, that you don't even benefit from it and still you do it.
The psychos.
Hmm?
Psychos. They
Psycho?
kill, yeah, psychos. They kill without any
Yes.
reason.
So this is Krishna karma.
Krishna, this got so.
Name is good, Krishna karma.
Yeah.
Black.
So Krishna karma also means when you do activities for the sake of Krishna. Devotional activities are also called Krishna. Krishna says samat karma krit, he is doing it for work. But here Krishna karma does not mean that type of Krishna, it means black Krishna, black work. So this is...
I understand the difference between black and red.
Black, as I said, that even you perform activities even though you don't benefit from it.
Yeah. And red.
Red is that you may do it at the expense of others, but at least you are getting benefit. So you may sacrifice an animal and then you gain something. That's what Prachin Bari was doing. He was killing animals, but he is benefiting from that. Even if violence to animals. So Shuklam Satvikam. Shukla means Satvik karma. Good. Krishnam Tamasam. And Krishna means Tamavan, complete, ignorant. Person doesn't know. So this obviously these tamasic people, they don't think that they have free will. And Lohitam Rajasam. Lohit is Rajasic karma. Dukham Udarka Uttar Phalam Yesu. Sukh Padarthesu Tan Kriya Ayasasya Yesu Tan Lohitan Apnoti Tamasoko Evo Utkato Yesam Tan Krishnan Tigaya. So it says that Suklat Prakasha Bhuyishtha Lokan Apnoti Karhijit Dukho Darkan Kriya Ayasam Tame Shokot Katam Kochat. The white karma, the activities done in goodness, they bring one to light, to enlightenment. Or one attains enlightened places. Sattva Gachanti or Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvastha. Those who are situated in Sattva, they go to upper planets, which are enlightenment, there is light, more knowledge. And Dukhodarkan Kriyayasans Tamah Shokot Katan Koch. And these activities which are performed in tamas with great effort, they end up in dukkha or misery. One has to go to hell and suffer because of that. So therefore it says dukkha mudarka uttar phalesu yesu. That which ends up in misery or suffering, that is called dukkha udarka. Sukh padarthesu tan kriya ayasasya. And one has to do a lot of labor, hard work. Tan lohitan apnoti. And tamasoko vevut kato yesu tan Krishna. In case of Krishna karma, there is ignorance and lamentation. Kvachit puman, kvachit chestri, kvachinno bhayam andadhi, devo manusya tiryagva yatha karma gunam bhavaha. So sometimes the living being takes the birth as a human being, as a man, sometimes as a female, sometimes as a eunuch. So this is also going on, depending on the gunas. And Deva Manusya Tiryagva, sometimes he is born as a Deva, the higher planets, sometimes as a human being, sometimes as an animal, Tiryak. Animal are called Tiryak. Tiryak means literally bent, because except for human beings, every other species of life, their back is bent. Beginning from snake, where they are completely horizontal, and human beings, they are completely vertical, and in between there are many species. So there are dogs, there are cats, they are little bit slanted. Then monkeys more, then apes. So this is the evolution, Darwin's theory. Depending on what angle your backbone is hanging.
45.
0 degree, 10 degree, 20 degree, 90 degrees human being. So only human beings are straight back. And actually you have to start from the plants, the trees. They are upside down. They are 180 degree. The head is down, legs are up. Then you have creepers, then like snakes, then animals, then you have birds which are bent like that, right? They're not completely horizontal, they are slanted and keep coming up. So from tree to human being, turn 180 degrees.
So the lower is the tree then? The
Lowest is the tree.
lowest is the tree.
So where one stands on the evolution is known how the back looks.
And the fish?
Fish is also horizontal. If you put it on the ground. So back is very important. You have to keep the back straight. You bend your back, and some people you have seen in the old days, they completely bend like this. They cannot stand, so they are going down. Even as human beings. Already. They are getting ready. So this is called Tiryak.
Let's do some asanas.
That's why they're always saying, sit straight. So Deva Manusya Tiryagva. It says Deva, the divine beings, Manusya, human beings, and then Tiryak, the bent beings. Literally that's what it means. Those who are bent. Yatha karma gunam bhava. So they take their birth according to their karma and guna. According to the activities they have performed and in which guna they are. As Krishna says, Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhya tishtanti rajasa, jaganya guna vrittistha, adho gachanti tamasa. So those who are situated in sattva guna, they go up to higher planets. They are too much straight, so they move up. And those who are human beings, those who are in Rajasa, Rajoguna, they remain in the middle, Madhya Tishtanti Rajasa. And those who are in Tamoguna, they Adhogachanti, they go down. So that is what he is describing. So it says, Puranjanaha parasmin janmani stri katham babhuva ityataha kochiditi. How did Puranjana became a female in the next birth, because he was a male as a Puranjana. Then after death, he became female, not bad, remained as a human being. So, but how did it happen? It says, Kvachit Puman, Kvachit Stri, sometimes male, sometimes female. So it says this is according to Guna and Karma. Nobhyam Napunshakam, Karma Gunavan, Gunam Anatikrammi, Yatha Karma Guna. So Nobhyam means eunuch, and it says this happens according to Guna and Karma. No one can transcend that. Therefore, no one is free from Karma and Guna. So even if we have some will, it is under the influence of Karma and Guna. Our past Karma and our Guna is their influence in it. Only thing is that because human beings have intelligence, and if they are under the influence of Sattva Guna, then they can discriminate what is right, what is wrong. If they are not under the influence of Sattva Guna, only Rajas and Tamas, then there is hardly any free will. They are totally under the lower gunas. So some freedom comes only when one is in Sattva Guna. Shuta parito yatha dinaha sarmayo griham charan gundanti yaddishtam dandamodanam evava. Say the situation of human being is like this, and this tells completely the story of free will. He says that just as a poor dog who is completely troubled by hunger, so he goes from one house to another house. This is Indian dog, not Australian dog, not Italian dog. They are happy, they stay in their house, they don't go from house to house looking for food. They get plenty to eat because the master is working hard, they are enjoying. They have good karma. So Indian dog, poor Indian dog, Dina. So poor Indian dog is hungry. So what does he do? He goes to one house, he goes to another house. So according to his karma, somewhere he gets a stick, right? He's kicked. So it was happening previously also, not only now. Danda Modanam, and in some place he gets pape, some bread to eat. So depending on their fate, Dishtam, Yaddishtam. So no one gets more, no one gets less. They get what is written in their fate. So that is, it's talking about dog, but this is also applicable for human beings. Sometimes they get a stick, sometimes they get some nice hot chapati. Tesu janmasu daivavashadeva sukh dukkhe prapnoti. So happiness and suffering, it comes because of the fate. So some people get some happiness, some people are suffering. Sadrishtanta mahadvabhyam. So it is given, explained with an example. Dina iti rajkiya sarmeya vyavrityartham sarmeya swa. So why it is called here as Dina Sarmeya, the poor dog? He says this is to separate the dog, an ordinary dog, from a royal dog. Because if he is a dog belonging to a king, then he doesn't have to go from house to house looking for bread. So now we can say that this is to separate the Indian dog from a Western dog. because there are no more kings. Or to separate a village dog from a city dog. Because in the cities you don't see dogs on the street. They are all pet dogs. So the difference is from the street dog to pet dog. So because pet dogs don't have that kind of fate. And the word sarmaya means dog. So there is variety in the dogs also. Every dog is not unfortunate. So तथा कामाश्रयो जीवः उच्चावच पथा भ्रमन् प्रियधो वा मध्ये वा याति दिष्टं प्रिया प्रियम. So just like this dog, the living being whose heart is full of material desires, he wanders on high or lower paths. This means higher planets, lower planets. Upari adhova madhyeva, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes in the middle. And dishtam yati priya priyam. According to one's fate, sometimes one gets desirable situation, sometimes undesirable situation. Sometimes happy, sometimes suffering. Nanu nirbuddhihi swad danda praharam prapnoti बुद्धिमास्तु दुःखस्य कारणमेव न करोति दैवात् प्राप्तो रोगादि दुःखस्य प्रतिकारं च करोति तत्र. So he says that your example is all right, but this example, how can you apply it to human beings? Human beings have intelligence. So dog does not have intelligence, very little intelligence. So dog is getting a stick on his head and suffering. Even if he gets the stick, he comes back again. He does not realize that I got a stick in this house, I should not go there. Human being will not do that. Human being goes somewhere, he is abused, then he will not go there. So therefore he says that buddhimastu dukkhasya karanameva na karoti, that one who has intelligence, he will not act like an unintelligent dog and suffer. So why are you giving example of a poor dog and trying to teach me about a human being? We are not like dogs. Daivat prapto rogadi dukkha. If you say that human beings also will get misery, suffering, disease because of the past karma. So he says, okay, let them get, but then they try to get rid of it. They will go to hospital, get a medicine and cure their disease. So then he says that just listen to me. Dukkhesu trividhesu madhye ekatarena api na vyavachhedo na vira. So he says, I have already said that there are three types of sufferings which everyone gets. Adi bhautik, adi devik, adhyatmik. Coming from other living beings, coming from one's own mind and body, and coming from nature. So he says there is nobody who is spared from these three types of suffering, no matter how intelligent one is, no matter how good fortune one has. Because when it is cold, you may be intelligent, you feel cold. Okay, you can get cloth, you can get heater, you try to do, but you cannot say that you don't suffer in the cold. Sometimes you have to go out and feel it. And you may be very intelligent, you are trying to eat the best food, but still you can overeat and get stomachache. Or you can eat the wrong thing which is not suitable to your nature, get into trouble. So therefore he says that there is nobody who can avoid these three types of suffering. And of course there are other people who can trouble you. After all, you can't just sit in your room all the time And if you do that, that itself will become a suffering. So when you go out, somebody can hit you from the behind, not intentionally, it can be an accident. Or you can hit a stone and fall down on the ground. Tattad dukkhasya pratikriyapi syachidapi tadapi na pratikriyanam api dukhrupatvat. So he says, even if you try to find a solution to your suffering, it does not mean that you become completely free from suffering. In fact, he says that getting rid of that suffering is another suffering. So we sit in the house trying to protect ourselves from the cold. But then to build a house, you have to suffer. It costs a lot of money. And sometimes there is a fire in the house and you can't run out of it, you get caught. And the same thing which you built to give you protection, now causing you suffering. Or something else happens, you are sleeping and then there is an earthquake and the roof collapses. So he says even that solution which you try to find to get rid of your misery will turn into another type of misery. So just as you take medicine, and then medicine can give a reaction to you. The iatrogenic diseases are coming from the medicines. So that which is meant to cure a disease is giving you more disease. So he says no one is completely free. Then he gives one example, very nice example. Yatha hi purusho bharam sirasa gurumudvahan tam skandhena sadhatte tatha sarvaha pratikriyaha. He says that all solutions to uproot problems are just like if you have a weight on your shoulder and after some time it is paining. Then you have a weight on your head, you are carrying something on your head, bharam sirsa. Then your head start aching after some time. So you remove it from your head and you put it on your back. So then you feel a relief. But the weight is there on your back. You cannot drop it and go away. So karma is like that. Try to find a solution, and that solution will give you another problem. So the end result is misery. So he says, Tatha sarvaha pratikriya. He says all the pratikriyas, all the reactions, all the solutions, they are exactly like removing your weight from the head and putting it on your back. And then when your back is paining, then you put it back on your hand. Or you have it in one hand, then it's changed, take it to other hand. But the weight is remaining. So tatra drishtantaha yathahi. So he says this is the example of suffering and its solution, how one continues to suffer. So we'll stop here. Now the preaching has begun. After telling all the story, finally he's giving the meaning, and now we'll get into the preaching part. So if there is any question on this?
About this standard behavior of the every living entity, no? There is a, let's say this example of the dog, and the awareness of the dog. So then, if the dog is the dog of the king, okay, because of the food, he has less suffering. Because he can get his food and maybe shelter and so on. But his behavior is the same. I mean, he takes up his leg. And so, how the karma works, it seems that when the soul goes into degrades, like we were saying that the old people, they start to bend and they're getting ready to become four-legged. So, and then the others, they are coming up, no?
Who?
I don't know, somebody else, not that everybody's bending, somebody's also going up.
Yeah.
So, but there is a standard behavior, this is the point that I want to make.
Yeah, so, what do you want to say? I don't understand.
You understand what I want to say? Because how the karma works, because a dog is a dog,
Yeah.
and the only difference is, but there is also differences between dogs.
I think Kamala was trying to say that even though their consciousnesses might be different, or their karma might be different, like they still cock their leg when they pee, they still bark, they do all the things that dogs do.
So there's something which speaks and something which is open, seems like.
Yeah, of course there is variety. I understand what you are trying to say. It's not like a machine that every dog works in the same manner. Like if you get a car, same model from the same company, then they all function in the same manner. But dogs are not like that.
Because some dogs, they lose a leg.
Yeah,
And they have
because
all
every dog has got a different karma.
Yeah, have all different kinds. I never thought that in the animals there is so much difference. I was thinking
Is there like such thing as an enlightened dog?
Enlightened dog, not in the material world.
Okay.
You have to go to the spiritual world.
So like, so what about is there a consciousness for the entire human race?
Consciousness is individual. Every individual being is a conscious being and they have their individual karma. But there is also collective karma. Many people have karma which is common to them. So that way all human beings may have one collective karma because they are living on earth. So whatever happened to earth as a planet, then everybody gets that reaction or that suffering or enjoyment coming from that. But consciousness is individual, the characteristic of individual soul, Atma.
So, like, say in the cells of my body, each cell is also conscious.
Yeah, so there is a soul in each one of them.
And then collectively, they're me, sort of. Like.
Their consciousness is making up your consciousness or influencing you, and vice versa. Because when you are happy, the cells are happy, and when the cells are happy, you are happy.
So I guess that means that the earth also has karma that it has to go through.
Who, the cells?
Or the earth itself.
Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a living being, it also has its own karma.
There are religions which advocate the acceptance of karma.
Hmm?
Their religion, would preach the acceptance of karma.
Yeah.
And that's the way to liberate, to accept what is. So if you align yourself to what is accepted, you align yourself to consciousness. And if you don't, you align yourself to ego. You put resistance to karma, like you were saying. You always try to resist things. You don't accept them. Even inside, not only outside you build a house, but also inside. Like somebody crosses you the road, you immediately get this anger, you don't accept. So there are religions which preach to accept, and that's the way to liberate you. So they say what is in the way is the way. You understand? That's Buddhism. So that's, in one sense, it's beautiful because it's very liberating. But of course, that's not the Vaishnava system. The Vaishnava system, I guess, is, I don't know, surrendering to Krishna.
Yeah, well, our system is also accepting, but we accept in the service of Krishna.
You mean accepting the pain?
Yeah, we accept, but simply accept will also not liberate, because not accepting means you are not reacting to that.
Yeah.
Acceptance means...
Yeah, you don't become reactive.
Yeah, you don't become reactive.
Yeah.
But that will not liberate you. That is the difference. So for liberation, not only that you don't react, but you also act. And that is to do seva to Krishna.
Yeah. Actually, the Buddhists, they have this passive surrender, and they talk also about active surrender. Active means to give everything to the Lord. They talk about passive surrender. You know, whatever I say now, you just to accept whatever is,
right.
not to become reactive. For them, that is liberation. When you align yourself to the truth,
Yes.
to what is.
Yeah, you go along with the flow.
Yeah.
Don't swim against the current.
Yeah. But that's very beautiful. You know, Vaishnavism doesn't really deal much with that.
No, Vaishnavism also deals. That's what, I mean, if you read Bhagavad Gita, it's simple things. Actually, Krishna says, Sukhe dukhe samay kritva labha labha jaya jaya. He's saying that you remain balanced in happiness and distress. That is accepting. What else it is? It's not only not reacting to something bad, he says don't react to something good also. Sukhe dukhe samay kritva. And victory or defeat, gain or loss. So he says that if you remain like this, then you are situated in yoga.
Yeah, it is there, yeah. This is just in Buddhism, it's a little bit more elaborated.
Here also it is elaborated if you read the commentaries, but we don't read. Buddhism is actually, there's nothing outside Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
You read Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 6th chapter, all the principles of Buddhism you will find there. Where it is ahimsa, satyam. Krishna lists all these Devi Gun, Devi Sampata.
They have they have a system, you know, which I don't know. What do you think? You know,
What
like when you
what
get
they have done is that they have taken these principles and then they have developed techniques to practice the principles.
Yeah.
In our Vaishnava culture, we study them, but we don't have any specific principles to practice it. So there they will make you practice.
You know, like you know, when you become angry, for example, there's an emotion. It's you. It's your ego. So you bring presence. Presence is consciousness. You don't fight it. You do it with willpower. You bring presence. That's the only thing you can do. Nothing else, because you are the consciousness, and watch the emotion, and that is supposed to liberate you. Because it brings light to that emotion will disappear, rather to suppress it. So a few things that I find them really beautiful.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that this is also there in Bhagavad Gita. Only thing is that maybe the language is different. It is not explained like that.
Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, I guess it talks more about tolerating. When you get, you know, like angry or you're subject to lust, you just tolerate it.
Yeah, but how you
How many
tolerate it?
times can you tolerate it? You know,
How do you tolerate it? That's what it means, to look at it, see it. This is the whole. The
to
very
observe
first
it, to observe it, yeah.
The very first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is looking at the army.
Yeah.
Means being present there, but seeing yourself as different, not becoming one with it. Arjuna is becoming one, it's my relative, this is my uncle, this is my this, he's trying to identify with it. So what Krishna is telling you that you are, that is the whole idea, that you are none of these things. Because when you understand, then you don't identify, then you see it.
So what would a Buddhist do in that situation then? What would a Buddhist do in Arjuna's situation?
Buddhist, he will not fight.
He'll just watch it.
He will just observe.
Observe it.
He will not even go to the battlefield to begin with. So Arjuna, Krishna takes us beyond Buddhism. Because Buddhism is good up to certain level, but at a certain level it becomes impractical. If the enemy is coming to attack the kingdom, and you practice Buddhism principle, then they will capture you. They will mow you down. Because they don't care what you are seeing or not seeing.
Well, they also have 3 principles. Change it, quit, or surrender. There's 3 things you can do. But of course, it's nice. It's nice to have. We have Krishna.
It's a matter of understanding. Just today I was reading news. There's a very famous business school in America, Wharton School of Business in Philadelphia. I don't know if you have heard of that. It's one of the most famous school for management. Actually, my classmate is the head of the department there. So now some Indians have written an article to say that Indians, they are unethical because their principles, their scriptures speak about unethical behavior, and in case of Krishna, he was very unethical. There's a whole article to prove this, and he says that therefore he says that be careful when you deal with Indians to do any business. Yeah, they're writing like that. He says that Western businessmen are more ethical than Indian businessmen, and the roots are coming from Krishna. I mean, they're saying scriptures, Mahabharata and all this, Bhagavad Gita.
Well, there is a little bit of that stuff, especially in Vrindavan.
And then but the point, my argument is that these people who are unethical have this taken this idea from the scriptures. Whether it is Vrindavan businessman or any businessman, are they really following scriptures and then they are unethical, or they are not following and they are unethical?
Yeah, of course.
So they are not following Shastra. And then we are blaming Krishna and we are blaming the scriptures. So these management students have not understood, obviously. So the root cause of this corruption in India are people not...
They are really misrepresenting the scriptures.
Yes. It's a perfect example of misrepresenting. These businessmen in India, they are also misrepresenting. And those who are now studying their behavior, they are also misrepresenting. So this is very sad that the scriptures are not understood. So Buddhism seems very attractive because it speaks of something opposite of what people are doing. Krishna is taking you one step above. It's similar what people are doing but for a higher purpose. And when that higher purpose is not understood, then it looks very unethical.
They emphasize really a lot on being present. Being present.
So he was also saying that they just give the example of that we are doing it for higher purpose. But higher purpose is not cheating others.
Who's saying that?
You see, many people are also not understanding this idea of higher purpose because like we have also heard in the past, they say, well, I'm cheating it for Krishna, I can cheat for Krishna. right? So that is not true. Krishna is not saying you cheat. Krishna's idea is that when the other person is a cheater and you try to be straightforward with him, then you are giving yourself to a cheater to cheat. And that is not dharma. This is what he is trying to make us understand. Not that you cheat some innocent people. He never cheated an innocent person. So in case of whether, because they are saying that Krishna ordered Arjuna to kill Karna when he did not have weapons. But the answer is given right there. When Karna asked Arjuna that why are you shooting arrows, I don't have weapons. So Krishna told that where were you when Draupadi was being stripped? She was a lady, helpless. You are a hero and your duty is to give protection. You are a Kshatriya. What was her fault? That she was humiliated in the assembly and you, a big religious, pious person, you are sitting there and laughing. So where was your dharma? Now you are giving a lecture of dharma when it is coming on your head. So this is what Krishna is teaching, that when unrighteous people, they take advantage by quoting Shastra or taking shelter of dharma, then a dharmic person should not be fooled by it and become weak in his actions. This is what he is trying. This is a very complicated point he is trying to teach, but it is misunderstood.
Yeah, subtle, very subtle.
He is unethical and he is this, and people. Yeah, you can take as an example, but you also read what he is saying.
We see a lot of this stuff in institutions, a lot of unfair things happening, and you feel like you're the only one who sees it. In Vaishnavism, I notice a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because Vaishnavism has a lot of leeway.
There's a lot of
possibility of becoming corrupt by
Yeah.
misunderstanding.
Yeah.
In Buddhism, this possibility is not there.
It's not there.
Because it's passive surrender.
Yeah.
You surrender. There's not the idea that you have to.
You can chant and be somewhere else with the mind. If you do meditation, either you're there or you're not there.
So just in the name of service, you can do all kinds of
Yeah.
things. And then you say, well, it's for God. But is God asking you to do it? Why did he say that you have to cheat others to serve me? Why don't you serve what you have? Because this is also written in the Shastra, that you should give Sukla Artha, white money, not black money. If you do anything with black money, you don't get any religious merit with that. It's written. But people do black activities and black money and then they give charity. It's forbidden.